Hey guys, Eat Before 9 here. Today I will be giving you my review on Destiny 2. I have this game on PC. The gameplay you're watching is at 1440p at 60 frames per second with VSync enabled, and the link to my build will be in the description below.
We need to find Zavala, Ikora, and Cade.
With that out of the way, let's get to the review. The first thing I have noticed was the story mode. It may not seem like a lot at first, but when comparing this game to Destiny, it pretty much started just like that. I felt like the game could have had a lot more when it came to this area. I felt as though the storyline felt very short, which was a bit disappointing after finishing the game. To be fair, some people like a short story, some would prefer a longer story so that we can connect with the main character or characters of the game. Then there's some who don't want a story at all. And in this case, I think Destiny 2 should have been a huge improvement on... I think Destiny 2 storyline should have been a lot better. It should have been longer, in my opinion. I think that it was kind of meh when it came to the length. I think it definitely should have been longer. Now, the controls for this game felt no different from the first Destiny, which is very nice for people like myself who choose to use a controller for a majority of the game. Keyboard and mouse is boss when it comes to the Crucible. Let's not fake and say that controllers are best with this particular game for PC. Keyboard and mouse for these kind of games, or keyboard and mouse in general, will always be more accurate than the controller. And I acknowledge that, and I understand. So it is nice to have a keyboard and mouse for the Crucible, or you can use a controller for the Crucible, whichever you prefer. For myself, the only time I don't use a controller is for the Crucible. So the gameplay felt like Destiny, but it seemed to be missing a lot of content when compared to the complete version of Destiny. Now, when I say the complete version of Destiny, that's all the DLC, which is the Dark Below, the House of Wolves, the Taken King, and the Rise of Iron. So with all of that DLC, that's the complete version of Destiny. So that's what I mean when comparing that game to Destiny 2. Now, again, I understand that there's a lack of content for this game, so more content will be released later, and hopefully when that content is released, it will be a huge improvement overall for Destiny 2. Now, I can understand that this game is still considered a new release and most of the content is still not available. Again, I understand this, and I will work with this game until I see that there are no improvements overall. There are some instances that events will pop out at random, and they can be a pain at times. Especially if you're in the middle of a mission, especially if you're in the middle of a mission. But they're not that hard, depending on which event it is. I personally did not feel challenged with most of the battles that I have encountered on this game. So the difficulty should have been adjusted, or they should give you the option to adjust the difficulty overall, but not to a point where it becomes unplayable. If you adjust the difficulty to a point where it becomes unplayable, there's a very high chance that people may not want to play this game at all anymore.
Keeps tagging these Cabal as Red Legion. Akora, what do you got?
When it comes to getting equipment at a legendary or exotic level, it should not be easy at all to acquire this stuff. Now, this right here, this is a problem. And I say that this is a problem because if everyone is able to get all this legendary and exotic stuff on the first playthrough, it's just gonna create it's gonna become oversaturated, and it should not be oversaturated with legendary and exotic weapons or equipment for your first playthrough. Now, I remember my first time playing Destiny, it took me a month and a half to get a single legendary piece of equipment. And that was a solid month and a half of grinding. And this was before Advanced Warfare released. And once that released, I took a break from Destiny, played Advanced Warfare a bit, and then when the Dark Below released, I jumped back onto that. And it wasn't until the Dark Below where I finally received my first piece of legendary equipment. And I felt excited for that because I was, well, I'm not going to say I was completely consistent because I took a break from Destiny to play Call of Duty, but anyhow, I felt a sense of accomplishment by grinding to get this piece of equipment, and I was extremely disappointed with how easy it was to get a legendary or an exotic on your first run. I think that should be changed, in my opinion. With this, you can get higher tier equipment like it's nothing new, in my opinion. And again, when the player base gets saturated with legendaries and exotics, I think that people will get bored to a point where I'll come pick it up after more content releases. I'll just leave it alone. Shouldn't be like that. But what I do like about the equipment part of the game is the methods you can use to make it stronger, change the colors, combine with other weapons or armor pieces to make it stronger, and you can even unlock skins for your exotic weapons. Now, I haven't. I was trying to figure out what the exotic skins were, what these exotics were, and I look at them and and it shows the weapons, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, I can pick that up, but no, I couldn't select it, and I found out that it was just a skin for that exotic weapon. So depending on if the actual look of those exotic weapons suck, you can use the skins to make it look a lot different, which I appreciate. As far as PvP, I had no issues with this area on the day of this review, and if any arises, I'll be sure to address this in a later video. Recently, there were PC players that were banned from the game 2 days after the launch due to some programs that was running in the background while playing this game. This right here concerned me because I myself have 2 of these programs that people were using that got banned when they were using it. I have actually I have 3 other programs. I have OBS, XSplit, and Discord installed on this computer, and at the time when I was playing Destiny, these were not on, and these weren't running in the background, so I lucked out. So I think until that problem is addressed, I won't be running these programs at all. I'll be sure to leave a link to this article down in the description below. So if you want to go ahead and read on it, it'll be down there. So overall, in my opinion, most of the game is sick when comparing bare bone versions of this and Destiny. Now, I'm comparing this whether it's sick, if it sucks, or if it's meh. Most of the game is sick when comparing these two, bare bones. But what hurts Destiny and makes this game suck at times is the lack of events. I think with that hurt Destiny 2 big time. Yeah, that definitely hurt Destiny 2 big time. And I think if they add all of the stuff from 1 onto this one, it'll hold people over until more content is available. Another thing I don't like about this one thing that I don't like that I've seen is silver. Now, this just needs to go. I feel like this is something that should have never made its way onto this game, which in my opinion takes away the grinding aspect. I think this is going to hurt the game a bit more and will give a bad impression of Destiny 2 becoming a quote-unquote pay-to-win, when in reality, it's not a pay-to-win. All of this stuff in the game you can get without paying. Well, minus the DLC you would have to pay for, obviously. But the equipment, you don't have to pay real money to get the silver, so you can get this stuff. But if you plan on getting this game, in my honest opinion, I suggest that you wait a bit until all of the problems are addressed. But overall, the game's decent, even with the acknowledging of the problems that this game have. And I feel that you can play this by yourself, but playing with the clan makes it better and more tolerable for myself. So if you like the review, give it a thumbs up, get subscribed for more of my content. It will be very much appreciated. I want to know, what do you think about this game? What improvements should they do? And if they are made, what are the chances that you will pick this game up? Put it in the comment section below. I look forward to it. And again, thank you guys for watching.
Got the power going, but the drill is still in our way.
Ah, what a gloriously irritating commitment to safety standards.
There has to be a manual override somewhere in that base.
I find it incredible that those myopic Red Legion ignoramus